Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The first shots going into arms as early as Tuesday. Dr. Anthony Fauci urging Americans to get whatever vaccine is available. More than 24 million Americans now fully vaccinated, nearly 8% of the population. Many wondering if they can ease up on COVID restrictions. Dr. Fauci saying official CDC guidance is coming soon.
Which is no. It's always what it is. It's a no. But Johnson & Johnson is officially the third that we can use, and one that's a little bit different because it's one shot, not two. It's had real world testing against pretty much everything that's available out there as far as the South African variant, the UK variant, the California. There's a new variant every other day. There is. There's a new variant all the time. And now you've got this. The question is how fast and how many.
Well, we'll have 20 million in March and 100 million by June. And this is a single-shot vaccine. So 100 million U.S. citizens will be able to get vaccinated before the summer with our vaccine. And so 20 million in the month of March and up to 100 by the end of June.
There you go. Up to 100 by the end of June. And that's people. So 100 million people. That's huge. Because let's not forget, kids aren't getting this, at least not right this second. So with the amount of vaccines that are available, with the amount of people that have caught this, some never realized they had it, some obviously did know they have it, we're getting really close. Closer than people, I think, would like to admit. That's for sure. Because, as we all know, there is a, how should we say this? There are powers that be that absolutely, I still say this, enjoy the power they have. There are powers that be who like the fact that they can come out and it's always doom and gloom. Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
In the middle of this, and even the numbers are still, even though they're coming down, and the case numbers that decline may have leveled off. Death rates still 9% lower than the 7-day average before. Hospitalizations 21% lower, but clearly there's still a very contagious virus out there, and there are people who are vulnerable. That's sort of the big sort of, I think, takeaway.
Of course, it's a big takeaway. That's the big takeaway. I think we know that now, Dr. Gupta. We know that. So as usual, it's let's never get back to normal. Let's just hold our horses. Let's relax a little bit. Let's take a deep breath and take a step back because, the next one's coming.
Just the idea of all of a sudden saying, okay, go into the restaurants and stop wearing masks seem like a good idea right now?
No, it's not a good idea because we're still very much in the middle of this, and even the numbers are, they're coming down. The case numbers that decline may have leveled off. Death rates still 9% lower than the 7-day average before. Hospitalizations 21% lower, but clearly there's still a very contagious virus out there, and there are people who are vulnerable.
We know that. So you heard that again. People are vulnerable. The thought of going into a restaurant. The thought of going into a restaurant. The thought of going into a restaurant. The thought of going into a restaurant.
Just the idea of all of a sudden saying, okay, go into the restaurants and stop wearing masks seem like a good idea? Right?
Yes. As human beings, yes. The thought of this, just even the thought of doing something like this, the thought of this, well, people had enough. You know it, I know it. We can be respectful. We can be responsible. Not everybody is, but they weren't respectful and responsible before this thing ever came around. So you're expecting some. But you also are having the average person say, I've had enough of this. I don't believe it anymore. It's always doom and gloom. There is never, ever, 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 ever any good news that comes out. And the good news has come out is always followed by a but. We could have 1 billion vaccinations today. And I still think you'd find people to go, yeah, but. Over the weekend, Bill Maher hit it out of the park with this.
Can we be a little happy? Can we be a little happy about where we are now, COVID-wise, as opposed to where, it's like they really don't want you. I think it's counterproductive. I really do. The constant gloom, and it's always a new strain from Satan is coming. And we're coming up on 1 year of shit. And I'm sorry, Johnson & Johnson is coming on the market. You can get it right with your pimple cream, I guess. And by summer, they're going to be giving the away. I'm telling you, there's probably going to be more than enough.
Yeah. There is going to be more than enough. Based on all the things that we're going to have, there will be more than enough. Then I heard last week we're going to need at least five vaccines. So another 2 on top of this. Well, AstraZeneca and Oxford, the numbers are okay, but they're for people under 65, from like 18 to 65. Then who's the next? Right? It's always something else. People are frustrated. Just look at the business. Look at the way that you've lost a lot of things, whether it has been through the fact that you've lost your job, therefore you've lost your car, potentially could lose your house. Some people have lost their loved ones. Some people are frustrated over the way that this thing's been politicized. Some people are just losing their damn mind. I talked about my kid last week, 10 years old, Jack. He was pissed. He was angry. He was upset. He was frustrated beyond all belief. Couldn't believe it. Then, reading an article last night, a lot of kids that really fell behind this year, they may not make that up in the long run. How they come up with that, I don't know. They look at the studies, but they're getting pushed further and further behind. We are frustrated. I talked about this doctor from Johns Hopkins a couple of weeks ago. Everybody's like, no, can't be that way, Chad. Can't be that way. It's impossible to be. Why is it impossible to be this way?
Dr. Marty Makary, surgeon and professor of health policy at Johns Hopkins, says, at the current trajectory, I expect COVID will be mostly gone by April, allowing Americans to resume normal life. I don't know who Dr. Marty Makary is, and I don't care. I love him. I think he's right. He's a professor, whatever the he is. I love him.
Yeah. Bill Maher, he's absolutely right. We have undercounted the amount of people that have probably had this thing as asymptomatic or passed off it as a head cold or allergies. And now we're in a position where we look like we could be emerging from this. And Dr. Marty Makary said, hey, you can look at the precipitous drop in this and you could say, well, it's because we're not seeing each other because of holidays or it's because we've got some people vaccinated. The reality is, it's most likely herd immunity. You're not going to get there on vaccinations alone because far more people have probably already had this. But there's always a but. Always.
Is that the wrong approach to say? Because otherwise I think people go, oh, what's the point of even trying if we're always going to be living with it? Fauci, such a downer. Wear masks forever. I don't want to wear a mask forever. Life's a rough game. It is. None of us gets out of it alive.
Truth. None of us get out of it live. You know it. I know it. Everybody knows it. I'm never saying Fauci's a bad dude. But what I am saying is at some point, since this thing has started, we're going to have to learn to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. And too many people, I think, aren't really interested in that. They're interested in other things, like in making sure the way that we live with this is based on them. Calculated risk. Life is exactly that. Yesterday, Orlando, calculated risk.
This alone should be reason enough for Democrats to suffer withering losses in the midterms and to lose the White House decisively 4 years from now. Actually, as you know, they just lost the White House, but it's one of those things. But who knows? Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay?
I don't know. It's a lot of years in politics. Trump at CPAC, it's a lot of years. Could he come back? Of course. Will he come back? That I don't know. He came out. He gave a pretty good speech. The weekend wasn't what it normally is, or the week of really wasn't what it normally is. It was definitely a little bit more subdued. And you've also got a huge fight between the right and the right. People that believe Trump is basically there and is still hanging over the party, and they love him. And the people out there who are saying, you know what, he's fractured the party and he's taken this corporation, which is what both parties are. They're corporations. And he's definitely caused it to be in a situation where it feels like a hostile takeover. But he's still Trump.
Joe Biden has had the most disastrous first month of any president in modern history. That's true. Already the Biden administration has proven that they are anti-jobs, anti-family, anti-borders, anti-energy, anti-women, and anti-science. In just one short month, we have gone from America first to America last. You think about it, right? America last.
Very interesting. I think some of that, what he said, was true. But the thing hanging over everybody is he going to run again in 2024? Some people think he's going to. And 3.5 years is a long time. That's the reality. The focus right now is getting back the House, winning back the Senate. 3.5 years is a long time in politics. Big time. Is the possibility there? Of course. If he stays healthy and things go south, absolutely. I think he could absolutely run again. But what will happen between now and then with the Republicans, that's going to say a lot.
I don't think Donald Trump, one, he'll be 78 years old, but I don't think he'll be our nominee. Over the last 4 years, we've lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Political campaigns are about winning. Our agenda does not move forward unless we win. We need a candidate who can not only win himself or herself, but we also have to have someone who lifts all boats. And that's clearly not happened over the last 4 years.
That's Bill Cassidy right there. So, Senator, Louisiana, doesn't think that he will. And there's something to point to there. Under your watch, while you strengthened the courts and you did a lot of good things, you also, under your watch, you lost the House, you lost the Senate, and whether you believe it or not, at the end of the day, you're not president anymore. So, is that winning? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. AMAC, Association Mature American Citizens, fastest growing over 50 organization in the country. Want you to join. It's cheap, $16 a year. You get benefits galore, retail, restaurant, hotel discounts, travel discounts, discounts at everything from perfect examples. Maybe you're over 50, but under 65. You're not going to be taking Medicare anytime soon. So what do? Well, you know what? Maybe you need health insurance. You give them a call. They've got great companies they work with. They give a huge discount. Maybe you're looking for life insurance, travel discounts, entertainment discounts. They've got them all. And they're out there fighting on your behalf for things like common sense immigration reform and, First, Second Amendment, little things like that. Join today, $16 a year, amac.us/Chad. amac.us/Chad, amac.us/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Governor Cuomo says he never made advances toward Ms. Bennett, but does President Biden believe Governor Cuomo?
President Biden has been consistent that he believes that every woman should be heard, should be treated with respect and with dignity. Charlotte should be treated with respect and dignity. So should Lindsay. And there should be an independent review looking into these allegations. And that's certainly something he supports and we believe should move forward as quickly as possible. Believes that every woman who comes forward should be treated with dignity and respect. They should be able to tell their story. There should be an independent review of these allegations. They're serious.
Jen Psaki! I thought we were supposed to just believe all women. Now we have to investigate. And there should be an investigation. It should be a third-party investigation taking a look at this. And this is one of those situations where every time Cuomo turns around, there is another thing that pops up. Today, it is about a Channel 9 news reporter who people say this creepy video. I saw the video. I mean, I at this point, now if you're looking for stuff, everything can be read into something sexual, right? I mean, it's that can't happen. Do I know if he did any of these things? Again, he's been accused right now. The second staffer's come forward. One of them was an unwanted kiss and some flirtation, and this one seemed to be something a little bit different. And it's just, he's got himself a world of problems. And then on top of all of that, let's not forget the investigation of the hiding of stuff when it comes to how they handled the nursing homes. Not at the beginning of this. Really, after we were several weeks into the coronavirus.
A former aide named Charlotte Bennett, who claims that Governor Cuomo asked her several questions about her personal life last year that she took as advances towards a sexual relationship. Bennett's allegations follows another one. Last December, former aide Lindsey Boylan claims Governor Cuomo tried to kiss her on the lips. Now, State Attorney General Letitia James heading up an independent review, hiring a law firm to investigate these allegations, promising a rigorous review.
Yeah, and he's since come out, you do what you do immediately.
Governor Cuomo releasing a statement apologizing last night, saying that some of the things he has said in the past have been misinterpreted as unwanted flirtation, saying, "I am truly sorry."
So it's it's an unwanted interpretation, and interpretation matters now. Just like, no matter what you say, right? It's not what you say or how you say it. It's how it's taken. Do I know if he did any of these things? No. That's why you have a third party come and investigate. It's pretty simplistic as that. He's a single dude. He's flirting around. If that's his gig, that's his gig. If you did this at work with people who were, for all intents and purposes, just doing their jobs, had nothing to it, and they felt uncomfortable, you're going to have to answer for that. If this is a chance to pile on, that's why you have investigations. By the sounds of it, dude likes himself some ladies. Is that wrong? No. The way you go about doing it, though, may be wrong. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. A little cancel culture. Talk a little bit about that. Some more on the JJ. I call it the JJ vaccine. Johnson & Johnson, baby. Talk a little bit about that as well. And Tiger gets honored this weekend by a bunch of players at one of the big golf tournaments. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Nearly 4 million doses are shipping out from Johnson & Johnson's plant in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. And Chief Executive Alex Gorski told ABC News people could receive the shots in the next day or two.
Millions of doses within the first several days, and we'll have 100 million doses available by June. So we couldn't be more excited.
It adds a third vaccine to the country's arsenal. This one requires one shot as opposed to the two required by Pfizer's and Moderna's. But doctors have said there's no preference. The best vaccine is the one you can get.
That's right. Get it. If you want to. I'm a big if you want to guy or gal. If you want to. I don't think you should be forced into anything. Can some businesses do that? Yeah, I think you're going to see some of that. I think you can see some businesses make some stuff mandatory. But get it. If you can, get it. It's that simple. People want to get back to living. People want to get back to life. Great song, by the way, Soul to Soul. Ooh, Jazzy B, what a grip. Back to life. Here's a mom telling a daughter she gets to do something she's wanted to do for a long time.
Guess what? What? Really? I haven't gone to school in such a long time. You're going back to school.
Yeah. People want to get back to their life. And we understand that. We do. You can be cautious and at the same time move forward, right? You can be cautious and at the same time live your life. Calculated risk. It's that simple. Now you got another one with this Johnson & Johnson, which is a one-shot thing, which is phenomenal.
In clinical trials, it also proved to be effective against concerning variants from South Africa and Brazil. The CDC recommending the J&J vaccine for people 18 and older. Nearly 4 million doses expected to ship starting tomorrow, increasing state allocations this week by about 26%.
That's a win. And it can be stored where? Anywhere. Anywhere good things can be stored. That's a win. That's what we're looking for. And then there'll be enough. But we have to do, I don't know if you guys saw this over the weekend, but Boris Johnson, crazy hair. He's kind of like a softer version of Trump, who is the prime minister of the UK, said end of June, essentially July 1st, we're back to normal. This is it. We're back to normal. Back to normal. There's a timeline. What have I been saying? Timeline. You don't have to hit your timeline. But when you have this eternal open end, people get frustrated. When you say there's a tunnel, people give up. You know, I love to study history. It's one of those things that, you know, I enjoy to do. People start to give up. And we heard earlier what Bill Maher said. And I thought it was so spot on.
Is that the wrong approach to say? Because otherwise I think people go, oh, you know, what's the point of even trying if we're always going to be living with it? Fauci, such a downer. You know, wear masks forever. I don't want to wear a mask forever. Life's a rough game. It is. None of us gets out of it alive.
No, we don't. And the eternally waiting for something, thinking you're going to get out, and eventually people start to go, what's the point? Terry Waite, if you guys don't know who he is, he was a journalist. He was an envoy for the Anglican Church, and he had done some other stuff, but he was over in Beirut, and he was kidnapped. And if you read his story over and over again, the hostage holders, right, would get him dressed, get him ready, take him somewhere, say that they're going to get him, you know, his freedom, and then say, well, not today. And that happened over and over again. And after a while, stopped caring. After a while, he stopped believing any of the things. And I think that's the way we're kind of going with a lot of this stuff. You tell us one thing, it could be here, could be there, and now it just feels open-ended, and I think people they've stopped listening. Absolutely. And that's understandable. Who wouldn't? If I asked you today, when do you think we're going to get out of this, I'm going to get 25 people giving me 25 different answers. And last week when you had Biden say, well, I can't promise next year. I mean, I can't promise this year is going to be any different at Christmas. But hopefully, sorry. That's not the answer people are looking for. Well, Chad, he can't give you. No, he can give us an answer. If we're going to have all these damn vaccines, if we're going to have everything available to us, you can give us an answer. And if the goal is to essentially try to get this thing to zero, and that's when we're going to have our normalcy given back to us, and that's the way it feels. And again, each state's going to be different. I'm sorry. That's not going to fly. That's not going to fly. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Then you've got this thing. The stimulus bill. Stimulus. What are we going to do with the stimulus? Well, first, let's take a look. How do we do? Are we headed somewhere? Are we going to see a second recession? Now, we've had a first recession, and this is totally different. This isn't one of those things where we imploded on ourselves and it was something that was caused internally. A lot of this obviously was based upon what took place in the coronavirus pre and then the run-up through the coronavirus the first couple of weeks and months, and then eventually through the summer and last year. Are we headed in a good way? Is there possibility we could see another
A large majority of panelists put the odds of a double-dip recession at less than 30%, which is good news, and almost one-third of respondents pinning the odds at less than 10%.
Which is what we want to hear. Is exactly what we want to hear. Less than 10%. Do I think there'll be a recession? I think we could see some slowdowns and some hiccups here and there, right? Maybe. But I think at the end of where we're going to be coming out, we're going to have some states, I think, that will be doing quite well. And we'll have some places that will bounce back in a quicker manner than others inside of certain industries. Travel's one of those industries where I think that, we're going to see some bounce back quick. But I also think there is right now there is going to be a ceiling that's much shorter than the ceiling they had pre-coronavirus. That's Holly Wade, Executive Director of the National Federation of Independent Businesses. And this is what people are talking about. Employment, what about that?
Panelists project that while unemployment will decline likely every quarter through 2022, over half, about 59%, don't anticipate a full recovery in the job market to pre-pandemic employment levels until 2023 or later.
And now that's not a bad thing in some cases. Some cases, places were overstocked. Some places, people had an abundance of employees. And they're learning to do more with less. They're going to bring in things that will help them as far as the employment side goes. It's not the worst thing. So it's not all bad news. And I'm here to tell you, we're going to have to learn to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. And that's not the worst thing in the world. We have technology. Look how fast this thing took us to get up. And our whole thing is the long game is if we've got something that works and these things look like they do, it's about the victory at this point and then getting through this thing where we're back enjoying movies, dinners inside, sporting events, concerts, life. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. I watched a lot of golf. I played a ton of golf this weekend. I did. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Played a ton of golf this weekend. And Tiger, first of all, was touched. Let's just give you guys a sense of who Tiger is. Last week, Tuesday, get the news, his vehicle's in a crash. First, you're not quite sure, and you're like, oh, my God, is this another Kobe situation? Now it's, hey, my God, look what happened to this. His legs are compound fractures, all of these things. Yet there he was in spirits. But I always think you need to take a step back sometimes and realize where you came from. And it was almost 30 years ago that he made his debut as a kid, a 16-year-old. What were you doing at 16? A 16-year-old on the PGA tournament.
On the tee from Cypress, California, amateur Tiger Woods.
2 months past his 16th birthday, Eldrick Tiger Woods teed off yesterday in the first round of the Los Angeles Open. And after his big drive on the first hole, Tiger Woods almost rolled in this putt for an eagle, then tapped in for a birdie, a remarkable start to what promises to be a remarkable career.
Love the competition. I love competing against other players, especially when they're better than me.
Yeah. So he played the LA Open at 16. He made the cut. Tied for 34th place. Think about that. Tied for 34th place as a 16-year-old back in the day when none of this stuff was something kids did. He changed everything completely. Yesterday at both the Puerto Rico Open and then the World Golf Championship, a majority of players were wearing red. And it was interesting to see guys who's like, I've never worn red in my life. Like Tony Finau, who's like, it's because of Tiger that I play golf. Right? I was an athlete. I enjoyed basketball. I like playing sports. But I saw him, and that's what I wanted to do. Pretty much every one of these guys was out there wearing red, something they don't normally do, and that was always Tiger's thing. Sundays, he's got the black pants, the black shoes, the black hat, and his red. Like he's a bull, and he's out, and he's looking for victory.
For everyone to show their appreciation of what he means to us out here, if there was no Tiger Woods, there'd be I just think the tour and the game of golf in general would be in a worse place. And he's meant a lot to us. He still does mean a lot to us, and I think that was just a little way to show that.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting to see too. All the guys and the guys that didn't wear red. Some of them, like the guy who won yesterday, Colin Morikawa, said like Tiger's the only reason I play this sport. And he goes, I was bummed I couldn't get my red shirt here in time. They were sending me some. I got lost. Other guys wrote on their their hats and stuff. It was just it was a good touch. It was a good touch in a sport that's very isolated, and there's a lot of rivalries, and not everybody's the nicest person out there. Even Patrick Reed, who's arguably the most Richard of the bunch, was wearing the red. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Got a funny question coming up. Would you rather talk about your weight or your salary? Interesting. Very interesting. Home Title Lock. Protecting you from people who would steal your title. Now, I know that sounds weird. Like, who would steal my title? How does that even work? Well, it's pretty simple. They go online, and everything you've got is out there for public record, right? So they go out there and they look it up, and they do it to a bunch of homes. Maybe it's in your neighborhood. Maybe it's in the neighborhood next to you. And what they do is they then find out, okay, I got your name, I got your address, here's your title. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to forge everything, get a fake notary, and sign it over to myself, start taking out loans. By the time you find out, I'm long gone, and you're in the hole. 10, 20, 30, 50, 100, $200,000. Easier than stealing a car and far more profitable. Home Title Lock alerts you to anything that happens. Right now, you find out when it's too late. Sometimes people are losing their second homes. They're finding out people have signed it over, and in some cases, they even move in. Then you got to go to court to fight it. That takes thousands of dollars. Home Title Lock alerts you to anything that happens to your title, whether somebody's just changing a sentence, adding a cross right there on top of a T, or maybe dotting the I. Find out how you can protect yourself. Register your address, see if you've already been a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use code radio, 30 days free protection. HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. Use code radio. Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Not a bad night for Netflix.
Queen's Gambit.
The Crown. The streaming service easily won the most awards, a combined 10 for the film and TV categories, from The Crown winning Best TV Drama, to The Queen's Gambit winning Best Limited Series, to Chadwick Boseman winning Best Dramatic Actor for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. But the top prize, Best Film, either drama or comedy, continues to elude Netflix. This year going to Searchlight Pictures' Nomadland for drama, and Amazon's Borat sequel for comedy.
No, that didn't deserve it. Just wasn't. The first one was totally worth it, but it was this was all because of the disdain for Trump. That's it. It's nothing else. Nothing else for that. It was. First one was great. The second one was. I went to the well one, and second one was like, how can we make fun of conservatives and Trump more than anything else? All in all, it was a kind of thing. When it was just, I've seen a few of those, not a ton. Not seen Nomadland, like a lot of stuff I didn't see when it comes to any of these things. It's like, have you seen these any of these Academy Award movies? Nope, not a one. I've seen Willy's Wonderland, which should win an Academy Award for being awesome. You guys didn't know what that is, and you want to look up a movie where you're like, I would like to look up something that is both stupid and brilliant. Willy's Wonderland. Nicolas Cage, that's all you need to know. Would you rather?
It has often been said, you shouldn't talk politics or religion or how much money you make. Of course, in today's day and age, the politics and religion have gone right out the window.
Right.
Would you rather reveal your salary or your weight?
Which one's more?
Well, I can tell you my weight is much more than my salary.
Well, it's been inflating more.
Yeah, one's been going up. The wrong one.
Yeah. Weight or salary? Would you rather? It's very interesting. For women and men, a little different for both. 80% of men and 63% of women say they'd rather reveal their weight than salary. It's also different, too, when you dig deeper into age range, because a younger generation is far more open to a lot of things. I mean, I grew up in a generation where you didn't even say the word cancer or divorce. You never asked a man how much he made, and you never asked a woman how old she was, let alone her weight. A younger generation is much different. The younger generation looks at this in a way different way. They are fine with that. They would rather know what everybody's salary is because they want to find out, are we, some companies now even post everybody's salary so you know exactly what everybody else is making. It was very interesting. The weight side of things, everybody lies, right? 192. What do you really? It's like boxing. There's a reason that those guys weigh in 2 days before the fight because they're cutting every ounce of fluid to get to that weight. And they're like, he weighs 157, and they'll weigh him on the day. And he's like, he's 172. Which is it? Football. He's 6'2", 293 pounds. He's 350. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. Happy Monday. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
There will be ramped up vaccine supply, and we'll have administered shots to most of the people who really are eager to get them and to those who've been able to get there. But at the same time, the warning is there'll be people who live in hard-to-reach areas who can't get the shots, and there are folks who are hesitant to take the shots. But if there's one message that needs to cut through all this, the vaccines are safe. I promise you, they are safe and effective. Listen to Dr. Fauci. Listen to the scientists who develop them.
Biden, what about the people that are black and brown and don't understand the internet? Last week, it was just, nobody talked about that. If Trump would have said that, people would have lost their mind. Nothing. Just nothing. Like older people, I get. Like my mom, I get the ATM was a mystery for a while. She gets it now. But, it's just some people who are, and some people don't have access. But the thought process of, these people out there who are Latino, Latina X, Latina X, YYZ, whatever, YYZ. And of course, African Americans, they can't, they don't know how to work the internet. I was just like, okay. That was awful. But listen, are the vaccines safe? Yeah. I go back to screw Dr. Fauci, screw what the CDC and the FDA say. Take a look at what the lawyers say. If the lawyers say it's a good idea, then it's a good idea. We're going to roll with it. If the lawyers say, yeah, we're doing this. This is good. We're okay with this. What you guys did, we're okay with. That's all that you need to know. Once the lawyers give it the thumbs up, yeah, because they know what's going to happen. They're there to tell you no. When you have a company like that, your lawyers are there to go, no. Hey, can we do? No. Should? No. I want it? No. But what? Nope. How about? What about? No. That's what they're there for. That's what they're there for. And if they say it's okay, then we're good to go.
It's great news to have a third vaccine out there, but as you know, there's a fair amount of skepticism out there as well because the vaccine has a lower effectiveness overall than the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, about 72 to 95%. What do you say to those who want to wait for the Moderna and Pfizer vaccines?
We've got to get away from that chain of thought. We have 3 highly efficacious vaccines that are safe and efficacious. That's the bottom line. Just be really grateful that we have 3 really efficacious vaccines.
He's very excited about the word efficacious. Yes, we should be effective. We have effective vaccines. 72%. So, but it's 100% so far of keeping you alive. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about? And when those numbers will probably rise, and they've done better in other places. Pfizer's numbers have actually risen in real world testing in places like Israel. And the reason for that, when there is less of the virus, you'll see these numbers rise. This is a one-shot deal with Johnson & Johnson. They're going to have a lot of these things ready to roll. That's a beautiful thing. That's what we need. This is Dr. Stoffels from Johnson & Johnson.
Well, we'll have 20 million in March and 100 million by June. And this is a single-shot vaccine. So 100 million U.S. citizens will be able to get vaccinated before the summer with our vaccine. And so 20 million in the month of March and up to 100 by the end of June.
So you would have April, May, June. They're going to do about 30-plus million a month on top of that. That would be 120 million, give or take. That doesn't even count Pfizer and Moderna, who are starting to really ramp it up, which is what we want to see. So all that being said, still going to make some people a little wary. I totally get it. The best salesperson for this is going to be your doctor or the place that you go where you feel comfortable. Right now, showing up at an arena at 2 a.m, people are a little uncomfortable with that. I know here, my other show that I do, my on-air partner, his wife is a teacher, and their second shot, her second shot, they had to go at like 2 a.m. He goes like, it's tense. We'd already been there before, and there's the they've got there was some military people feel uncomfortable with that. If you're uncomfortable with this, but you go see your doctor, and your doctor says, look, these things are fine. Nothing's going to happen to you. You don't have any allergies? No, you're going to be fine. It's going to offer you some protection, but most importantly, even if you do happen to get it, it's going to offer you a big protection from that turning into something that could be really, really bad. There you go. But you trust your doctor. I trust you. You know about me. Even so much as people who are going to be going to the CVS that they locally go to pick up their prescriptions, or it's just up the street. It's not somebody who's nondescript. You've seen these people before. You know who they are. All of those things will make it a little bit easier. And this thing can be stored basically anywhere, I think. It's just, anywhere. Good refrigerators. Even Pfizer now can be restored in a pharmaceutical-grade refrigerator, which doesn't need the freezing. It's so cold. So that's a win. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Trump, being Trump, doing Trumpian things this weekend, gave the speech that he gives, what he does at CPAC. He's been really quiet, partly because his voice has been shut down. I still don't agree with Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube taking him down. I think that's ridiculous. And if you don't want to be a publisher, stop acting like a publisher. That's another argument. But CPAC this weekend, Trump was the headliner for sure.
This alone should be reason enough for Democrats to suffer withering losses in the midterms and to lose the White House decisively 4 years from now. Actually, as you know, they just lost the White House, but it's one of those things. But who knows? Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay?
Woo! The left's like, oh, my God, thank God he's back. I mean, we don't like him, but thank God he's back. It wasn't crazy. I mean, it was what it was. And people are like, well, normally presidents don't say, like, there's kind of this unspoken rule that you give the person that comes after you, regardless of the party, some leeway to do the job. You understand how hard it is. Trump's not that guy. And they never were like that with him. I mean, he can get 100 days where he gets to kind of wander around aimlessly. And no, it was a fight from the moment that it started. And he engaged in a lot of that fight. He at times was the aggressor. Don't get me wrong. But he's also, in theory, not done if he wants to be. Where a lot of times, if you've run twice and you've won twice, whole thought process is, I may still be in this thing. I may still be politicking. He also touched on the vaccine.
He said there's no vaccine? Oh, good. Say it again, Joe. Now, I don't think he said that, frankly, in a malicious way. I really don't. He said that because he didn't really know what the hell was happening. Never let them forget this was us. We did this. And the distribution is moving along according to our plan. And it's moving along really well. We took care of a lot of people, including, I guess, on December 21st, we took care of Joe Biden because he got his shot. He got his vaccine. He forgot.
Trump being Trump. Interesting, though, in the polls from CPAC. So, because there's a divide right here. And if you're the Republicans, before you defeat the Democrats, you've got to figure out who you are. Trump won the straw poll, 55%, but only 68% him wanted to run again. And that's after leaving. You put leaving in with time gone and also no real way, as you had before, to reach people instantaneously. I think there's a chance that as this thing spreads itself out, meaning it's further away from him just leaving, I don't know if you're going to have that again. And he may not want to run again. That's the other thing. He'll be 78 years old. Bill Cassidy, Louisiana, said, I don't think he's going to run again. He'll be 78, and somebody else is going to emerge, and I think that's a possibility. Doesn't mean he still can't be a kingmaker. But there's a lot of time between now and then. And the first thing you do is got to try to get back the House and the Senate. And you'll have a chance in less than 2 years. And that's the most important thing. But all that being said, Republicans better figure out exactly who they are and what they're about. Who's driving this boat? Where are they going? What is your identity? Do you take the best of Trump and mix that in with a couple other things? I think that's not a bad idea. Who is that person? Who is it? Is it Nikki Haley? It's a possibility. It is. There's a few people out there. But find out who that is and what you're about and take the best of what he did and then bring something else to the table as well. That's a formidable thing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Raycon, best earbuds around. Had my Raycons on this weekend. Played a lot of golf. To say that I played a lot of golf would be a lie. Yesterday, times 30, 40 mile an hour winds. I was telling the boys, man, I'd swing and that ball, I was working on my, if you're good within 100 yards, you'll be all right at golf. And that's pretty much when I go out and I practice that. And I got a new 56, which is like a wedge thing, and I'm hitting it. It's just going straight up in the air. So it's just going straight because the wind was so bad, but I could still hear my music. And that's because of my Raycons. Best sound, best quality, best design, and the noise isolating fit is the separation between them and everybody else. It fits in your ear, and you feel like wow, this thing is awesome. You don't even feel it. You forget it's there. It's almost like, is music playing in my brain? It's that incredible. Get yours now. They start well under $100, 45-day money-back guarantee. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. When you do that, you save an extra 15%. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's find out what's trending on the interweb, shall we? We'll start with Twitter, where they're usually arguing amongst each other for God knows what. Nicolas Sarkozy, former French president, has been sentenced to jail for corruption. He'll do about a year. So think about this for a second. It's a former president. People are so excited. Oh, my God, this means we can do it to Trump. This means we can do it to Trump. Hyatt hotels are having to defend themselves for allowing CPAC, the Conservative Political Action Conference. Think of it as, just one of those fan fest things that you get. Why? This is the ridiculousness. You have to defend it. You allowed somebody to come there. My God. Get over yourselves, people. Please. Please, please, please. Enough. Just so insane. How dare you do that? How dare you allow somebody else to do that? Come and hold a conference there. We should cancel them. Head on over to Google. It's at Google. A lot of stuff on Google. A lot of it based on yesterday's Golden Globes, of which I watched none. Because I was busy playing Lizard and stuff. A lot of stuff about that. CPAC as well. Who gave what? Some of the polls that were out there. We just touched on the fact that a lot of people right now would choose Trump, but it's not as big as some people think. It's not as big as some people think. That, yes, 68% of them want him to win, but he only won the straw poll by about, I think it was 55%, which wasn't huge. It wasn't. Gillian Anderson also on this. And the reason I find this to be funny, because she's going to play Margaret Thatcher, apparently. And Margaret Thatcher has been removed from a list of inspirational women by the woke students at Durham University art event due to the impact of her policies on a former mining town, which is Durham. It's just that's just everything that you need to know is right there. Like they're getting rid of a woman, the first female prime minister in the UK. Getting rid of her because of policies. That's the rewriting of history, kids. That's what you get. Didn't like what she did. And March 4th, could it be this week? Now, if you don't know what March 4th is, this is apparently when Trump becomes president again, but he'll only be our 19th president.
A new conspiracy theory that Trump will return as the 19th president on March 4th. Why? Well, they have misinterpreted an 1871 law and believe Ulysses S. Grant, who was inaugurated on March 4th, 1869, was America's last legitimate president. Online discussion about March 4th has been a contributing factor in the decision to keep the National Guard in Washington, D.C.
Are you going to feel foolish on March 5th when Biden's still president?
Then Trump has a different plan in play.
You can't, look. They're living their life. I'm not going to sit here and just, that person's, she's out there. Everything it's a long game. He's got a different plan. And if he doesn't run again, he's got a different plan. He's going to rise as emperor. It's always something else. It's always another thing. It's always something else. So March 4th. So by Friday, we will know if Trump is indeed the 19th president of the United States, as my Irish friend said there. He'll be the 19th president based on the fact that the last president we have was Ulysses S. Grant. He was the 18th president of the United States. And in between, well, there's been no president. None whatsoever. I think it's based on the gold standard. I don't even know how you come up with this stuff at this point. You're just making it up as you go. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter, tweet, text. What's happening with that stimulus? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
As a matter of values, I can just say we will not rest until we pass the $15 minimum wage. We have been engaged in the fight for 15 for a long time. This is legislation that affects a majority of women. It's over 60% of the people making the minimum wage are women. Many are moms. If it doesn't prevail because of Senate rules, we will persist. But we will not stop until we very soon pass the $15 minimum wage.
Nancy Pelosi there. By the way, how many people really work on minimum wage? According to the last real thing that you could look at, we could go, all right, let's just take now minimum wage and under minimum wage. Well, why would somebody get paid under that? Because they're going to get tips. That's part of the deal. Right? So about 15% of America in 1980 worked on minimum wage. About 15%. Hourly workers at or below. And remember, below is not like you pay them $1 an hour and that's all they get. It doesn't work that way. You pay them, I think it's like $2.50, $3, but they're making more money hourly because they're working on tips and they get a greater portion of tips. And people understand that. You go to a restaurant. It's tough right now because you can't go to a restaurant. It's about 15%, 1980-ish. Now, 1.9%. So let's go over that again. 1980. 15.1%. Now, 1.9%. Federal minimum wage, 1980, about $3.10. Equivalent today, about $10. Right? So, there you go. It was never meant to be something you raise a family on. It wasn't. It was like low-income workers, majority of them are new to the game. It's their first job. It's their second job. Some of them, it's another supplemental thing, but they're low-skilled workers. This right here wasn't meant to raise a family on. And it's the big fight. And part of it is because the whole thought process, we get all these people unionized. Yeah, but what about the people that are on $11 an hour, $12 an hour? Yeah, what about them? Is it ever going to be enough? There's always that question. And this was in the stimulus they ended up having to take out. But for a lot of people out there, this is another one of those things where they're going to fight hard to try to get something in there.
But listen, I think this minimum wage fight is a big deal. I don't think that people who are looking at this in kind of a bloodless, calculated way, there is real pain at the bottom of this party. Frankly, in red states and blue states, that's why this thing is popular on both sides, the minimum wage hike. But you cannot continue to ask young voters and black voters and progressive voters to crawl over broken glass to vote in long lines, in pandemics and everything else, and then not do stuff that's going to address the pain.
Okay. But are we addressing the pain, or are we just putting a Band-Aid on something? Because like everything else, you're going to raise this, you're going to raise prices. Those prices will be passed off to the individual. Their spending power become less. The people and the powers that be in the upper side of things will continue to grow their earning power. And through doing that, it'll once again be one of those situations where there's a gap. It may lift some out of poverty. It'll also eliminate a lot of jobs. And like everything else, real world application as opposed to theorized application is much different.
People have not had a real wage in a generation, a real raise in a generation. And so this is not just some little, the progressives want to do some woke politics stuff. It is suicide for the Democratic Party not to do everything that it can to get more work and more wages for the people at the bottom. Talking about getting some of this student loan debt and other debt off the backs of people. I don't know what they think is going to happen in 2 years when it's time to get people to vote in a midterm election if you cannot point to anything besides, a vaccine and maybe a check that's been spent a long time ago.
Yeah. But you're handing out somebody else's money. as you're doing now with the stimulus, but you're handing out other people's money. You're telling somebody else, hey, you got to give this person here who may be new to a job, who right now breaks even for you. You got to give that person a big bump in pay. And everybody else, maybe somebody's been there 2 years. They're working their way up. They're assistant manager, making $12, $13 an hour. The goal is to be manager. And once they make that step up, they'll make but now you got to raise their wage. It's not, and it's funny because we always think that, okay, you're only raising the wages of people who are minimum wage. So there'll be other people in between the minimum wage and where you want to raise it. That's going to cost you. Real world application is going to look completely different, as it does. What's it about? Is it about getting ahead? It's a great article by David Brooks about essentially you want to get rich, but you want to get ahead. How do you do it? Simple. The most likely way to get rich is to get into a line of work that's hard to get into. What's that supposed to mean? Surgeons, doctors, lawyers, dentists. If it's tough, there aren't many of them. When there aren't many of them, there is a premium on what they get paid. But it's not that. Software engineers, things of this nature, where there is a decent amount of them, they make more money than the average person by far. It's not that there's an entry point in some of these things. As far as like, okay, here's the entry point. You get into here, but then you got to go through all these hoops. Some of that's true. There are some, things when it comes to lawyers, doctors, things of that nature. But for software engineer, it's just an understanding, and you could learn the rest. But it's not for everybody. But when you look and see who the top earners are, sales is another one of those. Number one, over and over every year, is sales. But there's a very few of them that are very good at that. That's the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of the business is done by 80%. 80% of the business is done by 20%. You got to find out how to market yourself better. But most importantly, you got to find out how you make yourself more valuable. Just raising somebody's wages, to me, you're spending somebody else's money. You're spending somebody else's money. And for some, they don't care.
It is deeply, deeply shameful because when you take the minimum wage from several decades ago and you actually account for inflation and productivity gains to today, it should be $24 an hour. Every pocket of this country, you cannot afford rent if you are making minimum wage. If you are working a full-time job, you should be able to afford to live.
Was not meant to be something you live on. AOC there. Sorry, it wasn't. Why should pay you $24 an hour? You don't think things are going to go up? What's that do? Well, that takes away spending power from other people. All of these things do that. How do you make yourself more valuable? That's the question we should be helping people answer. How do you make yourself more valuable so you can outperform the marketplace, therefore you have a bigger market share in what you do, therefore you get ahead? I listening to my pastor, he's, give a man a fish, teach a man to fish. And everybody said, which one is it? He's like, yes. Yeah, you help people. But then you encourage them and motivate them. And then if they don't want that, well, then they're on their own. And this entire process of the minimum wage, we're just going to hand it on out. We're handing out other people's money. And right now, Kyrsten Sinema and Manchin, both senators in semi-red states. Kyrsten definitely, it's now purple here in Arizona, but Manchin absolutely red. But they look around and they say, well, this is not, this can't happen. And especially now. In a semi-depressed economy that is waiting to figure out exactly what's the next play. Got to figure something out. But never did I hear anybody say, how do we help people get ahead? How do we teach them that? It's all about just give. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. I love what Bill Maher said about Fauci and his doom and gloom.
Is that the wrong approach to say? Because otherwise I think people go, oh, you know, what's the point of even trying if we're always going to be living with it? Fauci, such a downer. You know, wear masks forever. I don't want to wear a mask forever. Life's a rough game. It is. None of us gets out of it alive.
No, none of us do get out of it alive. You know that, and I know that. And there's always seems to be somebody who's got the big downer attitude. Every time you turn on TV, it's somebody who's willing to go out there and say, yeah, but, or not quite, or could be worse, or blah, blah, blah.
In the middle of this, and even the numbers are still, even though they're coming down, and the case numbers that decline may have leveled off. Death rate's still 9% lower than the 7-day average before. Hospitalizations 21% lower. But clearly there's still a very contagious virus out there, and there are people who are vulnerable. That's sort of the big sort of, I think, takeaway.
Gupta. Big takeaway. Well, come on, man. Like, that's the big takeaway. Is there's just more of this stuff out there, and it does. You told me nothing last week. Biden's like, well, I can't make that promise that we're gonna, you know, at the end of the year things are gonna be back to normal. What do you mean you can't make that promise? No, you put it out there. You put it out there. You tell people, look, here's the deal. You're gonna have a chance to get the shot. You're gonna have a chance to get out there and start living your life again. This is when it's gonna happen. We'll have more than enough. You can do that. So can leaders across this country who are leading these states. And I say leaders loosely because, but it's always a Debbie Downer. Never anything good. Fauci's the same way. Well, I can't tell you if you should see a mom or shouldn't see a mom. If all of you are vaccinated, then I would do a Zoom call, but I would still wear a mask. That's what it feels like all the time with him.
Dr. Marty Makary, surgeon and professor of health policy at Johns Hopkins, says, at the current trajectory, I expect COVID will be mostly gone by April, allowing Americans to resume normal life. I don't know who Dr. Marty Makary is, and I don't care. I love him. I think he's right. He's a professor, whoever the he is. I love him.
Yeah. Translation, he thinks with vaccines, the amount of people that have been infected, that we know of, the amount of people that we don't know who have been effective and already have some antibodies, whether it's T-cell or actual through infection. Couple that with all the vaccines, he thinks we're going to be there. Would I be surprised? No. But will you get that from our leaders that are supposedly our leaders? Probably not. Too much skin in the game, too much power. And getting government and government officials in particular to roll back on any power is super tough. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. You can check out Chad Benson Show TV on YouTube and, of course, Facebook as well. And Twitter and Instagram at Chad Benson Show. Car Shield. Protect your car. When the kid comes over, he's 18. He takes care of our lizards and stuff. I'm like, you got a truck now. You got, it's time for you to get something to protect the truck because you have a warranty. He's like, yeah, it's Car Shield. He's like, oh, that'd be great. Yeah, just all you need. Something small goes wrong with your car. Don't let it turn into a big thing. On average, 9 days, people drive around with their check engine light come on. And the reason for that, they don't have the money. They're worried it's going to be too much. So eventually they have to take it in. Sometimes it's something minor, but if you let it go too long, it becomes something major. Car Shield gets you 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose said shop. They get them paid directly. From there, you pay a small deductible. It's that simple. Over 1 million drivers have been helped by Car Shield. It's America's #1 auto protection company. Call them today. Protect your car, protect your wallet, protect yourself. 800-665-2157. Use code Benson. Saves you 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use code Benson. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Could I do this show and also have a court hearing? Listen to this. Insane.
Dr. Scott Green is seen raising his hand with blood on his surgical gloves as the clerk swears him in. At one point, Dr. Green puts his head down, appearing to focus on the patient and medical equipment. The judge eventually says he's not comfortable with the doctor's multitasking and requests a date change.
I do not feel comfortable for the welfare of a patient if you're in the process of operating.
The clerk is heard telling the doctor that the patient's medical procedure was being streamed online because traffic court is required by law to be open to the public.
Yeah, that is crazy that was happening.
Dr. Green has not yet responded to requests for comment. The reason anyone could see any of this happening is that these trials are legally required to be open to the public. And because of COVID, the whole thing was broadcast live on YouTube.
Hey, Steve, we're going to open you up here. I'm going to take out your appendix. I also have court. No, I'm going to do them both at the same time. That's no big deal. I was going a little fast. I didn't think I was going fast. Yeah, I got a new Porsche. It's pretty awesome. Don't worry. Like if your doctor says I got a speeding ticket and I'm driving a Corolla, you're like, you know what? I'm passing you to be my doctor. Like you could be a regular doctor, but you're not my surgeon. But if he says he's got a Ferrari or he's rolling deep with it was AMG, Mercedes, something like that, little aftermarket. Yeah, you say, all right, cool. This guy seems like he could definitely do two things at once.
Are you available for trial? It kind of looks like you're in an operating room right now.
I am, sir. I'm in an operating room. Yes, I'm available for trial.
Good to go. Oh, my Lord. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Do love hearing from every single one of you. You can check us out across all of those things. You know what those things are, right? Those things. Social media. Latest study in social media. This is great. Humans are just like rats, especially when it comes to chasing likes. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. It shouldn't be. There's a certain thing. We get that dopamine hit. You want to see how many likes did you get? How many shares did you get? How many views did you get? There is a certain conditioning, the same thing when it comes to mice and rats chasing the cheese, if you will. That is our cheese. And you can get lost in that. And that's why you see more and more stuff that's crazy, more and more stuff that's chaos that people try to do because they want to be something, in particular with social media. An influencer, somebody that goes viral with something, that want is so big now because it starts with a like here and a like there, and it starts with a share. And you're like, look at that post, look at this thing. That shouldn't be a surprise. The dopamine gets released, you get excited. When it doesn't work, you get down. How about you just eat a piece of cheese and we're all good? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter and Instagram. Like it or don't. I'm not going to freak out if you do. I'm good. I'm very, very good. More worried about my golf game. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The first shots going into arms as early as Tuesday. Dr. Anthony Fauci urging Americans to get whatever vaccine is available. More than 24 million Americans now fully vaccinated, nearly 8% of the population. Many wondering if they can ease up on COVID restrictions. Dr. Fauci saying official CDC guidance is coming soon.
Translation, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. There's no reason for you to do that. It's all about making sure that you stay exactly the way you are. Even if you got vaccinated, other people got vaccinated. It's all about that because we don't know how this is going to work in real life. Blech.
Can we be a little happy? Can we be a little happy about where we are now, COVID-wise, as opposed to where, I mean, it's like they really don't want you. I think it's counterproductive. I really do. The constant gloom, and it's always a new strain from Satan is coming. And we're coming up on 1 year of shit. And I'm sorry, Johnson & Johnson, there's coming on the market. You can get it right with your pimple cream, I guess. And by summer, they're going to be giving the away. I'm telling you, there's probably going to be more than enough.
Yeah, there will be. A ton. That's what we want, right? Like a lot.
4 million over the next several days. We then expect to have about 20 million having been delivered by March. And then we'll be on this path to do 100 million by June of this year. And remember, that's all en route to doing almost 1 billion doses over the course of 2021. And
there you go. What more do you need? Let's start planning how we come out of this. America's great at getting into stuff, bad at getting out of it. See war. We got a great... Like, we'll get into stuff. We're like, how do we get out? I don't know. It's like, what are you guys thinking? Think we should just leave? It's like, what do we do? I don't know. No. Let's start talking about how we unwind this power from too many people who I think who are enjoying this, who are milking it. Chad, it's not. You're wrong. No, I'm right. Last week, you heard a local school board person talk about the fact that they don't have to tell the people anywhere when we're coming back or whether we're coming back. That's at a ton of different levels. All the people out there with the powers that be, yes, do they want people to be? Nobody wants them people to die. Politicians don't. No, look, you know this and I know this. Everything like this is an opportunity for them to cement power, to make themselves look better, to raise money. You'd be foolish if you didn't think that. It's so funny the way, no, that's not. It's totally true, for God's sakes. But you've got a lot of other things. Every time you turn around, it's something new of why you can't do something. Every time you turn around, it's something new. Like, hey, you can't do this. You can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. It's always doom and gloom and doom and gloom. And Fauci's the king of it, especially the last 2 months. Every time he's on, well, I just don't know if you could do that. It's possible, but not likely. I wouldn't, not at this time, blah, 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 blah.
Is that the wrong approach to say? Because otherwise I think people go, oh, what's the point of even trying if we're always going to be living with it? Fauci, such a downer, wear masks forever. I don't want to wear a mask forever. Life's a rough game. It is. None of us gets out of it alive.
Truth. And the news has stuff that and Trump's gone. Without Trump, they're not allowed to talk about. You're not going to sit here and watch, because you're not going to ask Biden any really tough questions. A few people have, even people on the left that you would say associate with definitely have asked questions that you think, when Trump was up there. I feel like you're picking more of a fight, but they're asking some other questions, trying to find out, can they push? Because it's also an entertainment world. And this is, to them, eyeballs on the prize. And the prize is bringing in viewers. The prize is likes. The prize is shares and revenue. That's the prize. For us, we want to get back to work. For us, we want to get ourselves back out there, back to our jobs full time. For us, we want to get ourselves back in school when it comes to our kids as well as the teachers. Here's a little girl who's excited to do what? Go back to school.
A lot has happened since March 2020. 358 days. Long time, right? School got canceled on the 3rd of the 13th of 2020. But we have some news. Guess what? What? This year, on the 3rd of March. Really? I've been gone to school in such a long time. I've been to school in such a long time. Almost a year. Almost a year. Yes, 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 yes.
9-year-old Clara Zanato. Excited. My son would be like that. It's just crazy. So yeah, the biggest thing I think from here on out is how do we unwind power from a lot of these people? How do we change some of the message? Look, you can be honest, but the continual downer of when life can go back to normal with this open-ended, not quite sure. And it's not just the Faucis of the world, Dr. Gupta.
Just the idea of all of a sudden saying, okay, go into the restaurants and stop wearing masks seem like a good idea right now?
No, it's not a good idea because we're still very much in the middle of this. And even the numbers are, they're coming down. The case numbers that decline may have leveled off. Death rates still 9% lower than the 7-day average before. Hospitalizations 21% lower. But clearly there's still a very contagious virus out there, and there are people who are vulnerable.
Translation, we'll let you know when we feel we have gotten everything out of this that we possibly can. You can be respectful. You can be courteous. You can use common sense and maneuver around this thing. From day one, we've said, live with it, through it, around it. That's what we're going to have to do, and above it. Especially if this thing's going to be endemic, not a pandemic, which is what it is, meaning it's going to be here. It might be here for a few years. It might be here forever. We need to learn with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. And as we do that, not only will we build up strength in our immunity, we're also going to figure out how to do this in such a right way. Frustrating. So frustrating. It's just amazing. No, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. You can't. Well, you could, but you shouldn't. And if you did, then I'd have to tell somebody. And look. And I'm not saying you have to go get vaccinated, or you or anybody. I'm just saying that, you know what, you can be respectful of other people, but also understand the risk that you're taking. And that's, everybody I think should understand that. And if you're willing to take that risk, I've got no problem. I don't think anybody else does. And this whole thought process of we need to do all of these things and somehow we're going to save everybody and everything just isn't going to happen that way. We need to be smart. We need to get ourselves out there. We need to start living our lives again, not only for the physical well-being, but the mental well-being of our kids and ourselves. And the economy. And the economy, well, you know what? There's some stuff out there. How's it looking? Are we heading into something that could be ugly?
A large majority of panelists put the odds of a double-dip recession at less than 30%, which is good news, and almost one-third of respondents pinning the odds at less than 10%.
National Federation of Independent Businesses. There's a spokesperson there. So that's good. What about employment? This is interesting as well. What about employment? Because as we've seen since, and it's been pretty much a year. Remember, January went pretty fast. February went really fast last year. March was the longest year of our life. So we're a year on from that. What about employment?
Panelists project that while unemployment will decline likely every quarter through 2022, over half, about 59%, don't anticipate a full recovery in the job market to pre-pandemic employment levels until 2023 or later.
And now that may not be the worst thing. And the reason for that is pretty simple. People have learned to do more with less. And the other side of things, people are being, well, they're like looking at how can I make this more efficient using technology and things of that nature. Those are big. And then you've got the stimulus, which people are still waiting on, which has got a ton of pork in it. How does that help? If at all. For most people, the first stimulus that we got last year, well, everybody got last year, was people didn't think, we're going to get through this. It's not going to be a big deal. So I'm not going to really worry about it. I'm going out and spend money. I just got found money. And then you realize, oh, your business may not be open, and it's only going to be open part-time, and they're going to be, then you realize, oh, this could be totally different. Now, this money and monies, if and when people get it, that's going to be more living and surviving than spending on goods that would drive the marketplace. Things to think about. as Fauci goes, well, I know everybody has been vaccinated, but I don't know how it's going to work. So if you guys could, I'd like everybody to go into your basement. If you don't have a basement, hide in the trunk of your car, and then we'll let you know when it's safe to come out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, Wounded Paw Project. Amazing organizations. You know, I'm fortunate. I kind of get a say in a lot of stuff. And if I'm not comfortable with something, I don't have to work with them. And this is one of those things where I absolutely love. I love it for what they do, for our men and women and vets, and also for the animals. You guys know my love of critters. They rescue dogs that would be euthanized, train those dogs to become service dogs for veterans, first responders, and their families. It was started by vets who were struggling with PTSD and the trauma of war, trying to transition back into a normal way of life. And it was a shelter dog that changed everything for Ernesto, founder. Not a dog that's trained for anything, just a shelter dog. This is an amazing organization. They need your help. A gift of a vehicle. If it flies, it floats. Could be a canoe. Could be a boat, right? Like you get a boat. You're like, oh, my God, I'm excited. I got a boat. And then the next day, you're like, oh, my God, I got a boat. What am I going to do with it? Great tax-deductible gift. Car, truck, RV, you name it. The money's going to be used to train, advocate, and protect and transform these animals for our veterans, first responders, and their family. Find out how you can help today by going to woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org, or call 844-678-4PAW, 844-678-4729. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This alone should be reason enough for Democrats to suffer withering losses in the midterms and to lose the White House decisively 4 years from now. Actually, as you know, they just lost the White House, but it's one of those things. But who knows? Who knows? I may even decide to beat them for a third time, okay?
Trump, CPAC. You don't know what CPAC is. Think of it as Comic-Con, but for the conservatives. It was in Orlando, a little bit different than normal. Was it? You know, Trump played a huge part in it. But for a lot of other people there who support Trump, because you don't want to lose the support of some of the people out there that really feel like Trump is still it, there are also a lot of people out there that were trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to make a name. They're trying to move forward. You got Nikki Haley, one, Josh Hawley, obviously, Ted Cruz still, kind of lingering out there, coming back from his, crazy time in Cancun, which he made fun of.
God bless CPAC. I gotta say, Orlando is awesome. It's not as nice as Cancun, but it's nice.
So, but you have a lot of people out there that are trying to make a name, and the Republicans have to figure out who exactly they are and who they're going to be. Where are you going? Are you going to be small government, deficit hawks, right? Looking at the budget, where can we cut? How do we increase? Less taxes, more liberty and freedom. All of those things I love. Protect our border, have a strong military. None of those things. I don't have a problem with any of those things. You got to figure out who you're going to be, though. Because right now, they're all over the place. They're fighting amongst each other. Trump hammered a lot of people that went against him. Didn't rule out a run. But he also has to decide. There's this lingering thing with Trump. I feel like, are you going to be that guy that doesn't want to date this girl until somebody wants to date her, then you want to date her again? Meaning, are you going to allow some of them to get out there and be kind of the front runners? Are you going to be more the kingmaker? Because you don't have the influence you used to. But the Republicans better figure out who they are and what they want to be. Bill Cassidy, Louisiana, whether or not Trump will run.
I don't think Donald Trump, he'll be 78 years old, but I don't think he'll be our nominee. Over the last 4 years, we've lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Political campaigns are about winning. Our agenda does not move forward unless we win. We need a candidate who can not only win himself or herself, but we also have to have someone who lifts all boats. And that's clearly not happened over the last 4 years.
Yeah, and there's something to be said about that. You did lose the House, which you tend to do sometimes when you have the party in power. I expect there's a good chance this will come in 2 years. The Senate, you did lose when you shouldn't have, and I blame a lot of that on Trump. And as the presidency goes, well, Biden didn't win. I think Trump lost. But Trump got a lot more votes, and there's still power in the way that he is Trump. Can you harness that and find somebody that can mix the good and bring some other stuff? But you better figure it out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
It has often been said, you shouldn't talk politics or religion or how much money you make. Of course, in today's day and age, the politics and religion have gone right out the window.
Right.
Would you rather reveal your salary or your weight?
Which one's more?
Well, I can tell you my weight is much more than my salary.
Well, it's been inflating more.
Yeah, one's been going up. The wrong one.
So, I got a poll up. Study came out. They asked people, hey, would you rather? Your weight or your salary? You had to reveal one. You got to choose. What would you choose? What would you choose? Right now, I gave you guys the choice. Weight, salary, or neither. 22% said neither. Salary, 27%. Weight, 50%. But it's funny because you have to choose. I just want to see if anybody would do neither. Yeah, I don't want to. And it's part of it is the age range. 80% of men said weight, like 68% of women. But the culture, it's me, right? So I'm Gen X. See the baby boomers, Gen X. Right above us, you got the greatest generation. There were things you never asked. Never asked a woman's age or weight. You never asked a man what he made. There were things that were whispered, right? If your neighbor got a divorce, it would be the D word, right? They would whisper if somebody had cancer. He's got the C word. It was just nowadays, younger generation, especially some of the Gen X, but the millennials and the Gen Zs, their world is much more open. They're willing to put things out there. They're willing to put their worst moments out there because part of it is about the fact that to them, the worst thing is not being seen. It's not being heard. It's not being influencing. Plus, they like to take it to places where they think that they can get sympathy in some cases. And hey, let's go here and bitch. See if people, let's go gripe here. Let's go get angry here. See if people be angry with me. What is it? Let me know. Tweet at me, 323-538-2423, at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. The last 2 weeks, it's all been about Ted Cruz, what an awful person he is. Because he went to, this place called, where did he go, Cabo or somewhere? I don't even know. He went down to Mexico. And then I felt bad, came back, lied about why he did go and didn't go, those kind of things. But the memes were incredible. All the while this is going on, there's been remember, the guy in New York, he did what? He got an Emmy for all of his press conferences, which I will say, at least he was a participant. Some governors across the country wanted nothing to do with answering questions. Others were wide open about it, except for he lied about some of the stuff, and he covered up some of the stuff when it came to nursing homes. Then over the last couple of weeks, stuff has been coming about Governor Cuomo and people that worked for him or people he met who were doing stories on him, things of that nature.
Governor Cuomo says he never made advances toward Ms. Bennett, but does President Biden believe Governor Cuomo?
President Biden has been consistent that he believes that every woman should be heard, should be treated with respect and with dignity. Charlotte should be treated with respect and dignity. So should Lindsay. And there should be an independent review looking into these allegations. And that's certainly something he supports and we believe should move forward as quickly as possible. Believes that every woman who comes forward should be treated with dignity and respect. They should be able to tell their story. There should be an independent review of these allegations. They're serious.
So I think everybody should. Here's the problem with in this day and age is we run and convict before anything ever comes out. And even like I read this weekend, Tom Holland, who plays Spider-Man. I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was getting canceled over a tweet that he never made that another person tweeted with the same name that also has a little bit of fame. And he's a big cricketer. And it's a sport, for those of you guys don't know. It's not an actual cricket. So, but he was being, because we run to condemn. We don't care about facts. In fact, it's not even one of those things we're working backward. We start with the execution. So everything else before that doesn't matter. Yeah, you should have your day in court. Yeah, you should be investigated if this is what they say is true. And if you have proof. I think everybody, who doesn't want that? But it is funny, though, you know, where Kavanaugh was guilty and all women, you believed all women. This is like, hold on a second. Wait a minute. Hold on. And now we're looking at potentially 3 women.
A former aide named Charlotte Bennett, who claims that Governor Cuomo asked her several questions about her personal life last year that she took as advances towards a sexual relationship. Bennett's allegations follows another one. Last December, former aide Lindsay Boylan claims Governor Cuomo tried to kiss her on the lips. Now, State Attorney General Letitia James heading up an independent review, hiring a law firm to investigate these allegations, promising a rigorous review.
Yeah, and I think she'll look into it. Cuomo, you know, I mean, he's done what Cuomo's done. You come out and you do what? You apologize.
Governor Cuomo releasing a statement apologizing last night, saying that some of the things he has said in the past have been misinterpreted as unwanted flirtation, saying, I am truly sorry.
But now everything looks to be pointed at him being evil, even if maybe it was something that people interpreted it that way. He's a single dude. He's flirting. That's it. But you're doing it at work. Know that you've got some power. And that sometimes that these things may come back to haunt you. Did you kiss that lady? I don't know. Did you go after this woman and press a sexual relationship? I don't know. Now there's a whole thing about, a reporter, Beth Cefalu, who people are looking at going, well, hold on a second. Look at what he did here. She wanted a picture. They're hanging out at a table. It's the fair. He tells her, why don't you eat the whole sausage in front of, a bunch of people? And now these are coming out. People are going to interpret it a certain way. But it is funny the way things are handled. He gets praise. He writes a best-selling book. People died. Other people brought it up. They got yelled at for it. They got hammered for it. Do I blame him specifically on the deaths? I think there's some afterwards. You got to have some serious questions. You need to investigate the cover up as well. This is another situation where he's like, yeah, come look and investigate. There may be nothing here because so much of today's world is not what you say, it's how it's taken. And somebody could say, ooh, but he was also extremely popular at the time. So some people pick and choose the moments they think they can get somebody when you're on the way up and potentially when you're weakened. So it'll be interesting. Just funny, though, the way that those two things have been handled the last couple of weeks between Ted Cruz being evil and virtually none of the media outside of a few places covering any of this stuff. But now it's just too loud. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Do love hearing from you. I do. Ask the question again, your weight or your salary? If you had to reveal one. If you had to go out there and reveal one, what would it be? Majority of you are choosing weight. 50%. Salary is 27.3%. Neither is 27.2%. I gave you no choice, but you still chose neither. 80% of men and 63% of women say they'd reveal their weight before their salary. That's crazy. What do you think about it, though? I mean, it's the weight thing I could see because, I mean, all you have to do is just go on to, like, people are working out. They're always putting their weight on and you know, something like that. So that's an easier sell, I guess. The salary is a different thing. A younger generation's fine with it. Older generation makes them uncomfortable. There's still some things that you just don't talk about. Politics and religion, that's gone out the window. But for salary, I mean, you know, I'll see the young kids around here talk and ask questions all the time about salary. They have there's no shame in their game as far as that goes. For some people, it's still very uncomfortable. Really is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's my Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Yes, kids, it is happening. It is. We've got another vaccine. Great news. This will be the third vaccine, which is massive. And you've got a situation now with the Johnson & Johnson of one shot. Really, the thing that matters is it keeps you alive. I think at the end of the game, at the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. Will it prevent you from getting it? Well, 70+%. Different variants. It has effectiveness against it. But so far as dying, which is the goal, it seems to work at 100%.
Well, we'll have 20 million in March and 100 million by June. And this is a single-shot vaccine. So 100 million U.S. citizens will be able to get vaccinated before the summer with our vaccine. And so 20 million in the month of March and up to 100 by the end of June.
Here you go. So that's massive. You couple that with Pfizer and a few others, Moderna. Moderna's not as big as Pfizer. They don't have the capabilities to pump it out the way that Pfizer does. And Pfizer, by the way, is also very effective with one shot and doesn't need that special refrigeration they thought they had to have based on real world test, which has gone on in Israel. And Israel's come at this thing in a much different way. Their whole thing is a shot for a shot. Get a shot, go get a shot. Meaning, hey, here's a shot for your vaccination. Why don't you go out now and have a shot of booze? Enjoy your life, which is where I think we should be heading, even though I don't drink. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. I'm going to talk about little Lady Gaga, right? Because the dogs have been returned. Somebody getting any money? Was it an inside job? Is that dude okay? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us. Rough Greens. My dog Doodle, nobody would steal him. Couldn't give him away. A year ago, couldn't give him away at all. And I wouldn't let anybody steal him. I love him. He's great. He's a pain in the butt, but I'm glad he's healthy. And it started a year ago. We started giving him Rough Greens. He had bad hips. He had fatty tumors. You could feel him, and he had horrific arthritis. We started giving him this supplement from Rough Greens. It's Canine VitaSmart. It's just powder, sprinkle it on top of the food. Within about 7 to 10 days, notice a difference. Within 2 weeks, we're like, wow. Within a month, we're like, oh, my goodness. He's bouncy. He's happy. He runs around. He does all kinds of things he never did. 25 essential vitamins and minerals, digestive enzymes, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, all of these things. He is happier and healthier. His immune function's better, and his mobility and joint health are through the roof. I tell you guys this. Try it for yourself. They're putting their money where their mouth is. You pay for shipping, they're going to send you a free Rough Greens. Will you just try it? Simple and easy. Go to ruffgreens.com/chat. Get your free bag. That's ruffgreens.com/chat or call 833-MyDog77, 833-MyDog77. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
The LAPD says a woman found the dogs and reached out to Lady Gaga's representatives. The woman then brought them to a police station. Police say it's unclear if the singer was specifically targeted. As of now, police say they're not releasing information about where exactly the dogs were found. 39-year-old Ryan Fisher's family telling ABC News Friday he is expected to make a full recovery.
Help me! We're calling 911 for you! I'm bleeding out my lungs!
Gaga saying in the statement, "I continue to love you, Ryan Fisher. You risked your life to fight for our family. You're forever a hero."
Well, do you get a bonus? They're offering $500K to whoever brought the dog back, no questions. First of all, that never works, right? I think we're all aware of that. Haven't you guys ever seen the movie Ransom? It never works. Secondly, this lady supposedly found the dogs not too far away from where the incident took place, and they were tied up in like an alley. Don't know if that's true or not. It's according to TMZ and a few other things. So the funny thing is the LAPD's like, no, we're not going to tell you guys anything about any of this. But then TMZ's always got the pass. They're like, oh, yeah, no. We know exactly where they were found. Does she get the $500K? I mean, that was the rules, right? She didn't make them up. It was the rules. The rules were bring him back, you get $500K. What if she just was a woman who saw these two dogs? And maybe she thought, oh, those are nice dogs. Nobody's out there. I'll take them. Didn't have anything to do with this. And then saw all the hubbubaloo and thought, oh, well, this is somebody else's dog. I've hit the jackpot. I get $500K. That's a possibility. Or she could have been involved if this was one of those situations. You don't know. But I am curious whether or not you're going to give the $500K to this lady. You did say it. You said it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. This weekend, Tiger was not participating in golf. Will not be playing in the Masters. May never play golf again. Got a ton of love from players around the globe wearing Tiger's signature red shirt. Black hat, black pants, black shoes, including the likes of Roy McIlroy.
For everyone to show their appreciation of what he means to us out here, if there was no Tiger Woods, there'd be. I just think the tour and the game of golf in general would be in a worse place. And he's meant a lot to us. He still does mean a lot to us, and I think that was just a little way to show that.
Yeah. There was golf all over. Even some of the ladies on the LPGA Tour were wearing their Tiger attire because he has meant so much. And he was taken back and thanked everybody for it. And this was on the heels. This is 29 years ago. I think it was 29 years ago that 26 years ago that he debuted this weekend. On the PGA Tour as a 16-year-old. Playing as an amateur finishing 34 in the LA Open, making the cut. Some people started to realize when he took that first drive and he outdrove the pros, like, uh-oh, this guy could be for real. He's not just the Mike Douglas, that's incredible kid. He's something real. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Have a blessed, awesome Monday. We will do it again tomorrow. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.